starting from Idris, Mohammed Abura, my producer and director, Suleiman Nachasov Tumbo, the sound engineer, Mohammed Atreo, Hamed, and generally the Horizon TV crew. We send our heartfelt condolences to the family of His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. The father to the Baringo Senator, Gideon Moi, came into this world on September 2nd, 1924. A lot can be said about him, of course, including being the only vice president in this country who has succeeded directly his boss, that is Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. But before we go on with this discussion, let's listen to what Kenyans have to say on the street. Suleiman.
Kumbukia maziwa ya Nyayo. Sababu kwetu mimi natoka mahali tunapenda maziwa na kwetu hatukuwa na ng'ombe mingi. Sasa mahali nilibaitika ni maziwa ya Nyayo.
Uongozi wake uko sawa tik. Maziwa tulikunywa free. Sisi tulikuwa wanafunzi katika Murang'a, tulikunywa maziwa ya Moi ya free na hakuwa na ubaguzi, alikuwa anaangalia mtu yeyote akue ni nani, hakuwa anaangalia ukabila.
There was a lot of peace. There was a lot of peace and harmony, and everybody was living a life that maybe you would expect to be living. Because right now there's a lot of even scandals going around, and so many things that we expect we're not receiving them.
Condolences to the former President Daniel Arap Moi and the family. We are sorry for the loss of the demise of the former president, but we remember the President Moi, his legacy, how he was during the time where he held the country. He held the country in with no any tribal lines, because his legacy was, or his policy was, about peace, love and unity.
Nikilinganisha maisha wakati wa Moi na wakati ya Moi ilikuwa afadhali. Hakukuwa na mashida mingi. Kabisa juu ya hata kikazi tuseme hata haikuwa na shida sana hivyo kama wakati. Naweza mkumbukia hiyo tu.
Okay, nikijaribu kuangalia wakati wa uongozi wa Moi, kitu kama uchumi ilikuwa iko chini na ilikuwa iko sawa kabisa. Nikijaribu kuangalia na wakati huu, for example kama mimi ni mtu wa jua kali. Na wakati wa Moi, jua kali ilikuwa iko sana. Nikijaribu kuangalia wakati huu wa Uhuru Kenyatta na Ruto, jua kali iko haipatikani sana kama wakati wa Moi.
Moi alikuwa mzuri kwa sababu masomo ilikuwa mzuri. Hata kati nilikuwa shule tulikuwa tunasoma vizuri. Maisha ilikuwa ngumu kama saa hii.
Now that we have lost our former and lovely president, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, whom we loved most. During my time, I was very blessed with him. During his time, I was very blessed. I was very happy with him for whatever he has done to our lovely country, Kenya. Actually, all what he has done is wonderful to our country. So I remember him at a moment as a grateful statesman and a grateful president who knew who knew the young and the middle.
In 1991, he led Kenya through a heated political regime from a single-party democracy to a multi-party democracy. And in 24 years of his presidency, Mzee Moi was a person whose leadership style touched lives of many Kenyans. He was a God-fearing person and a man who preached peace that made him being loved by many. Nasir Hassan, Horizon TV.
Thank you so much, Nasir Hassan, there for getting feedbacks from the streets. Santeni sana. And joining me tonight to discuss about this, Oftumbo, tuko hapa, kwa Obura. Joining me tonight to discuss about this is, I'm having, of course, Mr. Apio, who is the former youth national leader of the Third Way Alliance, right? And one man that you really love for speaking his mind. The last time we had him was during the BBI discussion. That is Professor Salah Abdisheikh, who is the university lecturer. Karibuni sana, gentlemen. Karibuni sana. Of course, it is a sad moment for this country, for losing a statesman, for losing one of the pillars of Pan-Africanism, not just in this country, but the whole continent. One man who was known for his stand and strictness when it came to the rule of law. What do you have to say about the demise of His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Moi, Mr. Appiah?
Thank you. First, I would want to send my condolences to the family, to the former president's family, friends and relatives. Our prayers and thoughts are with the family as we speak. It is quite sad that we have lost the longest serving head of state in our country. If you consider and you relook Moi's presidency or during his reign, there are a lot of things that happened that benefited this country. And there are things that happened as well that some of the people not agree with. In short, I would want to say it's a sad moment for all of us Kenyans, because we know very well his role in the geopolitics of our country, in our progress, and in shaping what this country is to be. And the way you said at the time, he's the first person, or the first leader actually, to succeed his boss. He was the deputy of the memorial President Kenyatta,
the founding father
of this nation. So we are so sad as a country, and I have to say that this is a time for mourning, and across the country we are bereaved.
Sante sana, thanks so much. Professor, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on the same, Professor.
I think Moi was 100 and something years old.
95.
So he has lived a very long life. He wasn't a young man who died. And any death, people will be sorry for, anybody who dies, people will be sorry, there will be condolences and all that. But I don't think whether we are here to discuss the sad part of death, because it's waiting all of us.
Yeah.
So
it's a matter of when, not if, either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it is not where, it's if. But I think dead men tell no tales. When somebody dies, you will not be able to, that person will not be able to narrate their life. It is other people to actually narrate how that person lived.
Yes.
And the age of Moi, many of you I think were too young to actually know that. It was illegal for 5 people to meet. So 5 of us here in this room
really
could not actually sit and talk. So those people who are talking about Moi's time being the golden time of Kenya actually were born after Moi. Most of them were too young to realize that what Moi's time was. I think part of the reasons Kenya is what it is because of the first president and the second president. If they had directed the country away from tribalism, away from personality cult, away from corruption, the country would have gone a different direction. So we are just following Nyayo ya Moi na Kenyatta. It's just that we're getting worse and worse. We're not getting better, which seems to be a very unfortunate situation, that people are yearning for the time when dictatorship was the order of the day.
From that, just giving it an overview, generally, what do you think of Moi's leadership? 24 years in power. What do you think? What's your take on that?
I think he started well, initially. In the 1970s, he started well. Late 70s, he started well. 78 and the early 80s, he started well. But he had an iron grip on the country, and he was vicious when it comes to dealing with his opponents and dealing with the population. Later, he lost control because what happened was the economy was actually dwindling. It was even getting worse. By the time Moi was living in the 1992, I remember the finance minister was Simon Nyachai, and there was a conference in Mombasa where he said the economy is in ICU. The economy of Kenya is in ICU. By the time Moi was living. That was then. The late years of Moi is a time when there was the worst scandal in this country. There is no other scandal that can actually match that one. It's called the Golden Bag scandal. So if you look at it, yes, he was a professor of politics.
At that time, there was no scandal that could match that one.
Yes,
at that time.
I think at any time in this country.
In history.
Yes, because if you look at if you look at the the things that were written that time, the history of that the newspaper reports and the articles that were written that time, it says 50% of the GDP of the country was stolen. So people are saying, people are talking about Kenya now. Yes, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of mismanagement, there's a lot of things are going, very bad. Things are we are unable to understand what is happening. There seems to be lack of order in this country. But at that time, people could steal 50% of everything, the entire income of the country, and get away with it easily like that. So if you look at it, you see, we have to say honest things about dead men. When you are dead, people should say honest things about you. We're not going to have problems with your life because you're already dead. We cannot have any revenge on you. There's no worse revenge than death itself. So I think we have to look at Moi's area as Wamalwa. Remember the letter Wamalwa said he's going to write a book and call it Moi's era was an era. You understand? So you have to look at it from that kind of perspective, whereby yes, the country was more united, but most of it was because of the dictatorship, because of lack of freedom of speech. I could not, if at the time of Moi, I wouldn't express myself the way I'm expressing
yourself right now.
And I remember the late years of Moi, we were also agitating around with young people from Northeastern, and I remember he went to Northeastern and said wale watoto wa university ambao wanapiga kelele ni wajinga hawajui kile wanasema. So I remember he said that. That was in the 1990s. So yes, you have to look at these things,
wholesomely. And of course we are cognizant of the fact that our religion advises us to speak good of dead people, but at the same time just need to be honest.
So this is not personal. We have to separate the person from the president. The person as Moi is different from the presidency.
But again, it's very difficult to speak about the presidency in this country without mentioning Moi, especially at this point in time. Let's try and break this down further. Mr. Apio, talk about democracy in the Moi's era. Definitely, you were not there to witness it 100%. Maybe just a little bit towards the end is when you could witness it. And from what we have read from the papers and the articles and books, and right now the whole country and Africa is talking about him. What do you think of democracy in Moi's time?
Faisal, I want to be very honest with you. Even though people say that Moi used to rule with an iron fist, a number of decisions that President Moi made to this country, some of them were so good. If you look at how he opposed multipartyism in 1992, the biggest problems that Kenyans are facing today as a result of multipartyism, that is what has entrenched tribalism everywhere in the country. Because we accepted that we want to be named, we want to be identified with the regions where we come from, with the provinces, with the tribes and the rest. People formed different parties. People did everything that they could do because of that democracy. He opposed a number of things that actually would lead to democracy, but he knew what he was doing. So if we want to speak about democracy during Moi's time, even though the democratic space was so small, people would not even express themselves, media had to be gagged in doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things. But I would want to raise probably one question. What were we trading off with the democracy? We were trading, we were having peace, we were having inclusivity. People were not having tribal fights. So even if democracy was small, but there are benefits of that narrow democracy, or that democracy that was not definite during his time.
And he actually mentioned that in one of his speeches, saying that hii democracy na multi-party mwanayeng'ang'ania itakuja kuleta mgawanyiko sana kwa nchi. One of his speeches. I don't know whether you can get that, Suleiman. Maybe you can just look for it, and then if you get it, you can play it.
So if people say that during Moi's time we didn't have democracy, there was democracy. But the old man knew very well that if that democracy is open to every Tom, Dick and Harry, to everyone in the country, even though they are citizens, we are going to mess up this country. Look what Professor is saying here, that by the time he was leaving power, he said that the economy of this country was in ICU. Look how he struggled with the current duo. Even the current leadership that we have are products of Moi. And there is a time he said, Kanu will rule for 100 years. Moi died knowing very well he left Kanu in government. So we have to be very, very honest with ourselves. For me, even if there was limited democracy during Moi's reign, I would love to live in that democracy than democracy that we are being blindfolded with in the country as we speak, at an expense of basic needs that people are supposed to benefit from. So Moi's democracy was the best, even if it was contested by people, civil rights societies, tribes, politicians, and what. It was the best democracy because what was being traded off for us to get democracy were basics and people were not complaining.
And from what Professor just mentioned about gagging, people were gagged not to speak their heart or their mind, and say it was illegal to court you for 5 people to meet, right, and discuss. And he could not express himself, though he's expressing himself now during Moi's reign. So how do you place that?
You know, as a leader as well, you have to be very cautious. You know, after the attempt coup that happened in this country,
in 92,
Moi became so insecure, became quite an insecure person. And as a president, Faisal, even if today you are head of state and you have seen attempts to oust you from government or from the position of influence, there are certain radical, or in this case, let me say austerity measures. There are things that you have to put in place for you to run a successful government, because no one would want to be a president today, then you fail, or then you're being overthrown. And during that time, there were a lot of unstable governments in most African countries that were actually overthrown by critics and people that defied. Look at Burkina Faso, look at where there are a lot of political instability in most countries. So that gagging, or let me speak of that limited democracy that we are speaking about, the gagging, the media and the rest, came after he realized that majority of people that he was working with are not up to good. And therefore, stringent measures were necessary, were called for. So I support probably a number of ways that he used to govern this country.
Professor, from your silence, I can tell you're burning to say something. I'm just going to give you 1 minute, 60 seconds before we go for the very short break, Professor.
I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled because, you know, the time of Moi, people are claiming there was no tribalism. Actually, that's the time when tribalism was planted. You know, it was planted, it was watered, and it started germinating and growing. It is because of Moi that we have this problem. And secondly, who succeeded Moi? Kibaki was working with Moi just before multipartyism. So that's deputy. So what happened? Kenyans, after you know, the first multi-party election, the first election in which we can say there was a free and fair kind of environment. They were sampled. You know, they were polled by some international organization, and they were one of the most optimistic people on earth. The happiest. You know, they were feeling that their life has changed. Their life has, you know, suddenly they have, you know, abandoned themselves from the Moi and the Moists.
They were tired of the regime.
They were tired of Moi. Remember, Kenyans were literally tired of Moi. Kenyans used to sing in the streets.
So they did not vote in
1991, I remember people were singing in the streets and looting shops here because they wanted Moi out. I remember they said Moi must go was the first thing. They must go that Kenyans. Bila Moi. Remember?
Exactly. We're going to hold you on that. So, Ambani _Ambani said the only president that led a united Kenya instilled patriotism and love for the nation. An astute leader like no other. The only president who cared for Kenya's school children. Those who took Maziwa Nyayo will remember you. R.I.P. President Moi. We're going to take a very short break, but please Usie and Mbali, because I love this show because we're being as honest as possible. Tafadhali Usie and Mbali, because we're going to for a very short break. We need to pay our bills, but we'll be right back.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri. alitunukiwa sura nzima,
sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma Amir.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Are you tired of things running out? Are you tired of things finishing too soon? Now there's a new dawn. We are giving you extra. Get 50% extra airtime with every top-up. That's right, 50% extra airtime for calls and SMS across all networks. Simply dial *544 *2 amount hash and buy any amount of airtime and talk for longer. What are you waiting for? It's better to talk. Simple, transparent, honest. Safaricom is for you.
لله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Welcome back. Just in case you're joining us now, we are talking about Moi's legacy, the longest-serving president in Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, who is set to lay to rest, inshallah, next week. And just one funny tweet. Someone said that it was during Moi's era. I'll look for that tweet and give credits to the person who tweeted. It was during Moi's era that we were getting a lot of holidays, and he thanked Moi, said, "Thank you so much, Mzee. Even from down there, you're still gracing us with holidays. Now that we have been given another holiday next week on Tuesday." But anyway, that was on a later moment. Professor, you were telling us something about
I think
His Excellency the President.
Kenya seems to have a bit of amnesia.
Yes.
Because of the dashed hopes. You know, we are so hopeful people. We were very optimistic. Mm-hmm. Now we are very pessimistic. Now we see the world as nothing is working.
Do you think so?
Yes. Kenyans, you heard them on the street saying that Moi's era was the golden era. See, so that tells you that their hopes have been dashed.
Maybe it's because they got a worse situation.
Yeah. They were hopeful. They had taken care of dictatorship. They put in place a very vibrant and very progressive constitution, and now we have BBI. You understand? Now we have BBI, and if you read the BBI, then you will understand the kind of future that the leadership that we have are dreaming about. You understand? So Kenyans are not they're not admiring Moi's era. It's just that they're looking at the future and seeing worse things to come.
So they're missing Moi's era.
I come from a region, northern Kenya, in which when Moi came in 1978, he said he will register everyone who lives in that region and deport anybody who is not loyal to Kenya. And he did it 11 years later, in 1989. And he deported a quarter of the population of northern Kenya. You understand? So I come from that region. So when you tell me Moi's era was a good... No. We are okay with what we have compared to Moi. Compared to Moi, what we have is like moving away from the desert into the gardens.
But don't you think he left behind a united, peaceful nation? Don't you think so?
No, he didn't. If you remember the elections of 1992, what happened in the Rift Valley? If you remember, what happened in the Rift Valley? The entire people from central Kenya were evicted from the Rift Valley. Was that tribalism or not? It was tribalism. Look at 1997. Same thing happened again. Was it tribalism or not? Why is it that people are looking at things, more rosily? Yeah, they're looking at Moi's time as a... No. Tribalism was there. In fact, it is the only time when a whole entire population, a tribe, was targeted for elimination, for genocide in Kenya at the time of Moi. If you know Wagala, if you know Garissa,
I was definitely going to touch on that.
Before even Wagala, there was Garissa. Before Wagala, there was Malkamari. He wanted to eliminate an entire population of, a tribe in Kenya was targeted for elimination twice. No, 4 times actually. Once in Mandera, once in Garissa, once in Wajir, and once for deportation. He wanted to deport enough of them to make the land far for other people to come and set up. So you're telling me Moi was a good person or a good president? I think it's not the same Moi that we lived through. It's not the same Moi. Maybe people were living with another Moi, and the one we got was a different one.
My goodness. Wow, this a total different script that we're getting here tonight. Apio, you mentioned something about multipartyism and the way the president, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, by the time leaving power in 2002, who, by the way, in one of the interviews, he admitted that some KANU members, right, asked him to revolt against the results in 2002. But he opted not to. Why? Because of the unity and peace of this nation. But
I disagree with that. Because that is now complete revision of history. Moi had no choice. In 2002, Moi had absolutely no choice but to give power to the people, because the people had decided. And had he even stayed 1 hour longer, Kenya would have been in chaos immediately. Everybody was going to State House. If you remember, everybody was going to State House to remove him. And he left. You understand? Wow. So you're telling us, what kind of history are you is the media in Kenya actually writing? Because I was reading the newspapers, and there's these rosy stories of, written by apologists all over the place. Why are we apologizing for No! Moi lived a very long life. And 24 years of it, he lived as a dictator in this country. Yes? He may have been a good person individually, maybe spiritual, maybe that. But as a leader, Moi was a dictator. And he dictated to us for 24 years. And he destroyed the country. And he destroyed the economy. And by the time he was leaving, Kenyans were glad. And they were the most hopeful people in the world. Now you're telling us he was peaceful. How peaceful was he in 1997?
My goodness.
How peaceful was he when he was killing 5,000 Degodias in Wajir? Was that peace? That definition of peace? In the media should be more objective. You tell us the story as it's supposed to be.
Dr. Before I come to you on that, on what is economy, you are a lecturer, you are an economist, yeah? You've studied economy, and before I come to you, right, I want to talk to Apio. We've heard what Kenyans on the street say about economy during Moi's era, and terming it as one of the best, right? Things were easy, things were flowing. There was money in the economy, right? And Some of the jokes, of course, light moments of social media, people would say that during that time you'd even pick up, you know, even if it's 1,050, 500 shillings not maybe on the streets. But nowadays things are tough, right? Everyone is keeping whatever little that he has to himself and very safe, right? That you cannot even pick up anything. What's your take on economy during Moi's era?
First, I have to say that by the time Moi was president of this country, me as a peer, I was still a kid, right? And a number of people that are giving their views about how economy used to be affordable during Moi's time, majority of them, I also believe, were younger. So they would not even define that economy, what they are speaking about as we speak. But what make majority of Kenyans believe that during Moi's time, economy was better, more than this time, is how it was very easy to access basic factors of life. Basic factors of life. We talk of health, we talk of food, we talk of clothing, we talk of I can move from point A to B. It was very easy, it was affordable to access these factors or commodities that human beings would want during their day-to-day operations, as compared to now. Then number two, in terms of economy, I think Prof will expound on that. In terms of economy, there is a radical change, geopolitics and geoeconomics across the world. You cannot speak about the economic times of 25 years ago and now. Things have changed, technology and the world population and the rest. So
but of course
sorry?
Yeah, but I'm saying definitely. There are changes, there are dynamics, there are metrics that you can measure. But of course, comparing the living standards then and the living standards now, I mean, things are quite different. Things are not
quite
the
different.
same.
They are very, it is, in fact, it is a world of a difference if you compare what we used to have and what is happening now. What I would want to say, Faisal, that what make Kenyans feel that nowadays they cannot put up with life is very simple. Basic things are no longer accessible easily. They're no longer affordable. During Moi's time, it was affordable. I think I took Moi's milk when I was class 3, and that was the last time. And there's a Kenyan who told us one thing, that during Moi's time, Moi gave us milk, Kibaki taught us how to milk, and Uhuru and Ruto milked us. They are now milking us. You get it? That is a good phrase. That is a very, very good phrase, and it is timely. Because if you compare whatever, look at even the government appointments and the way somebody would even struggle to access maybe job or what. Long time, I remember during your time, upon finishing university, you are certain I'm going to get work. I'm sure of my life. I'm sure of my future. Today, the country has got more population of graduates, more than people who have not gone to school. And two, we are living in a nation, and I don't know whether it has been perpetuated by the previous government or this government, where we have rich criminals and poor graduates. So you cannot tell any ordinary Kenyan living at this time that the current situation as it is in the country is better than Moi's time. Because during Moi's time, basic things or basic factors of living were accessible and affordable.
Yes, Professor. The time you are waiting for.
I think it's last time that Moi was the leader in this country was 18 years ago. That is like 2002 was the election that removed him.
Yes.
So like 19 years ago. So most of the people who are young and in university have never lived through Moi. Because 19-year-olds were born the last years of Moi. Now you can understand, probably, I'm being the eldest in this room now. At that time, I was something like 18 years old or 19 years old. You understand? I was in university. Okay? Maybe 20 or something like that. I was in university. Actually, I was the last lot that the Moi, he was the chancellor of every other university. He was the only chancellor. There was no other chancellor in Kenya. So Moi, Nairobi University, last lot to graduate, and Moi was the official, chancellor, and he graduated us. So we were the last lot
to be graduated by.
Now you can understand when people say jobs were available. The people who are talking didn't know what was there during the time of Moi. I didn't know. There was a system that existed in universities from the time of independence, and it was deteriorating up to the time when we came to university in the 1990s. By the time we came to university in 1990, Moi was the president, but the issue of boom and the issue of university free university and free education had been removed already. They were not there. Okay? Because we actually took loans to go through university. So, and by the time we came out, at that time, that era, it was similar to what is there now. The only difference was that the number of graduates on the streets were fewer. But it was similar, such that it wasn't anybody who could get a job. It wasn't what you know. It was who you know. Yeah, it was who you know. If you are a Kanu stalwart, or you are somebody who's related to somebody who's in Kanu, or you are somebody who has political influence, you could get a job. But the rest of the population were just as, feeling under the same kind of environment as it is now. It's just that the population was, smaller. You understand? Secondly, public utilities had deteriorated to a point of Kenyatta Hospital was not in existence. It had deteriorated. It had become a place where people go and die. Today, people go to Kenyatta and they get treated. Yes, it is very bad. But the last years of Moi, Kenyatta Hospital was not a place people visit. You understand? Roads, you see, you're using roads and you're thinking, okay, things were better. No, they were worse. There were potholes in the city streets. There were potholes along Kenyatta Avenue. If you look at this, if you were there in the 1990s, when the last years of Moi, Kenya was, somewhere else. It was a banana republic. So if you're telling us, during that time Moi was, no, it was not. My friends, what you have now, nurture it and grab, your rights from those people who are saying what? They are misleading you. You understand? You should focus on the current politicians who are misleading this country. The current parliament, which has become a parliament, that exists in name only. The current Senate, that is, some sort of, I don't know what's you should focus on that and try and use the same tactics that were used to tame Moi and get him out of office, to change the country. Instead of, crying for Moi, whose time we were crying anyway. You understand? When Koigo Mwere was asked the other day, yeah. Koigo Mwere, when Kenyatta died, he said he's happy that Kenyatta died. Koigo Mwere. When Moi died, he said what? He said he's not mourning Moi. He didn't say he's happy, but he said he's not mourning Moi. Very many of us are not mourning Moi. But in any case, Moi is not to be mourned because he lived 105 years. Somebody who lives 105 years had lived a full life. There was nothing remaining to live. So instead,
95 years.
I think he said, somebody said 102, 103, that's 105. Because most of us were born in the bush and nobody knows when we were born. You understand? So I expect that Moi was also born in the Rift Valley bush and maybe he was born 10 years earlier than he claimed. So around 100 and something. So if you lived 100 and something years, I think your life most likely has been full circle. You have reached a point now where your living itself is not what? It's not. But we're saying it's not about Moi the person, because Moi was a leader for 24 years, the president for 24 years, but he had other life. The rest of his 95 and 24 and 70 something years, he has other life. So we're not worried about his other life. We're just worried about the president of Kenya for 24 years, the guy who told us the Nyayo philosophy of peace, love, and unity. Yeah, peace, love, and unity was just in red colors and very elusive.
Api, I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about that, because I really want to go back to Professor. I've learned a lot, of course, historically, from what he's done. But again, my director, Mohammed Gitwanga, is telling me that I might have to go for a very short break. So please don't you go away, because I'm in class this evening. I hope you are too as well. So pick up your book, pick up your writing pad. I have my laptop with me here that I'm writing my notes. Don't you go away, because we're going to be back after this very short break.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Are you finding difficulty to find us on Azam decoders? Rescan your Azam decoders and find us on channel 008. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the third and unfortunately the last segment. Of course, at this point, I need to give the apologies of Mr. Onchari Oyeyo, who was supposed to join us. You can see from this wide camera that I have a seat here that I preserved for him. This seat here, next to Mr. Apio. Mr. Onchari Oyeyo, who was supposed to join us this evening, but due to some unavoidable circumstances, he had a meeting with high-profile person that extended to the better part of the evening, so he could not join us this evening. Anyway, Mr. Onchari Oyeyo has sent in his apologies, and he will join us next time when we call him. Mr. Apio, we were on you, right? Professor schooled us properly, having experienced that, being its field, and all that. And you appear to be burning to say something, to comment something on what he was saying.
Yeah. What the professor is saying, I agree with some of his explanations, because when you're a professor and this is your line and you were there during the rain, you can believe a number of things. But me, what I wanted to stress is very simple. What I wanted to put across here. In as much as majority would castigate President Moi's reign as one of the most dictatorial, and he was an imperial president, during all those 24 years. Maybe the other things that we are supposed to factor in as a generation as we speak today, President Moi is gone. Unfortunately, we have his kids, or let me say political orphans or political siblings here. Would you say today that Moi's era was bad and President Uhuru Kenyatta's era is now good, and therefore we are supposed to castigate Moi? No, because it is simple. Look at how Moi handled certain issues relating to democracy. Look at how he handled issues. The professor was speaking about the way he did to Ogala massacre, the four genocides that were observed in northern Kenya, and how he used to silence actually his critics. Me, there is one reason. There is a time even Kenyans lamented that this country, the way it is moving, it lacks one person, a dictator. And Professor can agree with me that we are on a pilot mode as a country as we speak today. During Moi's reign, in as much as you would not talk, you would not actually mention anything negative about government, there was one certain thing. There was peace. There was one certain thing. You would access. He's speaking about Kenyatta National Hospital that at that time was in a probable condition. I was not there. I cannot say more about that. But I was right down in some village in Homa Bay, and I knew very well that we had one president, and that was President Moi, where we were being told that President Moi, during his reign, this is what you benefit, this is education, this is what. Today, what we are speaking about, me, I don't support or I'm not pro Moi's reign because I love Moi. No, I'm pro Moi's reign because I'm a 21st generation man who is seeing the current situation we have in the leadership vacuum that we have in our country. It is a mess, and therefore we are opting for the old more than what we are seeing. So me, I agree with a lot of things Professor is saying, but one thing that we have to agree on, if this country moves the way it is moving, then Moi will remain the most admirable president that ever existed in Kenya.
Interesting. Professor, before we get the parting shots, I would want you to react further on that. What are some of the good things that you believe the President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi did and he'll be remembered for, and you will remember him for particularly?
Good things. See, okay. I don't remember any good things because, Kenya has not had a very good, 50, 60, 50 something years. Kenya seems to have had jumped from one blunder to the next and to the next and to the next. So it's very hard to say, good things about leadership of this country, which are concrete. But you can say there is, the time of Moi, he renamed many schools to be Moi Girls, Moi Girls, Moi Girls. See, that's his, one other thing. Probably the good thing as a child I will remember. Yes, there's
Maziwa Nyayo.
Yeah, one thing I remember as a child is the Maziwa Nyayo. That's what I remember.
What about his support mother's education?
Very, very well. What education?
Education. Did he support education?
Yeah, that's what I said. He renamed many schools to be Moi Girls, and then he built dormitories. There's one problem you guys have to look at. You have to look at this country in totality. If we look at Kibaki, we can say very well. We look at Kibaki and we say what? Free primary education was there. Is there, isn't it?
Yes.
And then we say you can just point to the direction of Thika, and you will see exactly it's there.
Yes.
Thika Highway, Kibaki.
Yes.
You can tell me something of Moi other than Moi Girls.
Moi Girls, Kabarak, Maziwa Nyayo.
Maziwa Nyayo was, yes. Maziwa Nyayo was one thing you consumed and it's over. Tell me one thing that remained in the time of Moi.
Post-mortem on Muslim bodies. Post-mortem on Muslim bodies. It is then that directive passed.
I don't even know whether
during his reign.
I don't even know whether that, because that's something so obscure that it is very difficult to actually know.
But it used to be a law, like for every dead person, you must go through post-mortem.
Yes.
But again, Muslims contested.
Right? I believe that.
And appealed to the president.
I believe that was a wrong decision to contest. What should happen is post-mortem should be there, but it should be faster and it should be more, professional and all that. Post-mortem is a way of knowing what killed a person. And many people are dying because maybe they're being poisoned, or maybe they're being killed, maybe they're dying of diseases that could have been cured. You see, if you look at this thing, some decisions...
Given the capacity that the country had at that time, Professor, come on.
Now, who killed the capacity? who made us so useless that we cannot carry out basic things like post-mortem, treat basic diseases like malaria, do basic research. Who did us this? Who caused this problem? It is President Kenyatta. It is President Daniel Arap Moi. It is President Kibaki. It is President Uhuru. You see, we had successive leaders who seem to jump from one frying pan into the other fire and then back to the frying pan. You see, we have a problem. So if we don't tell each other the truth, Kenyans, if we don't tell the truth and we don't actually analyze the kind of life that we have had, we will be bemoaning the loss of Moi, and then after one day other former presidents will go, and then we'll be bemoaning their time, and then one day we'll be bemoaning Jubilee's time. That's what's going to happen to us. If we go the way we are going now, the way Apio and others young people are going, one day you are going to say the best time was Jubilee, Jubilee time. Because yes, one day you are going to sit where I'm sitting, arguing that Jubilee was that, and your son will be sitting on the other side, and you'll be arguing that Jubilee was the best thing since last.
Because of time, Professor, I'm going to take a parting shot now. Yeah. Because of time, please. Because of time, I'm going to take parting shots.
I think I personally have no problem with the person of Moi, individual as an individual. The person of Moi, is an individual. He was a father of someone. He's a brother of someone. He's from a certain community and all that. So I have no problem with a person of Moi as an individual. What I have a problem with the actions of Moi and
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Are you tired of things running out? Are you tired of things finishing too soon? Now there's a new dawn. We are giving you extra. Get 50% extra airtime with every top-up. That's right, 50% extra airtime for calls and SMS across all networks. Simply dial *544*2* amount hash and buy any amount of airtime and talk for longer. What are you waiting for? It's better to talk. Simple, transparent, honest. Safaricom is for you.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Ni kauli ya wengi, mwanamke na kijiko, wakajitahidi kwa makundi kubeba wao mwiko. Mapishi na Remi, mwamko mpya katika tajriba ya upishi, kufundisha na kuunganisha jamii katika ubora wake mwanamke wake jikoni.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Islam has permitted acquisition of wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ.
To understand clearly Islamic perspective on wealth management, join me Khalfan Abdullah on Trials of Wealth to learn more on concept of wealth in Islam, wealth creation, wealth spending, wealth protection, and many more based on Quran and Sunnah.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam,
nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani?
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Ufahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان. انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam. Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu aliyemfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
Thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik.
Ungana na mashekh wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Ni Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen, our beloved viewers back at home. We do apologize for some few technicalities in matters technology. We do apologize for that. Anyway, we were doing parting shots, and Professor, I'm going to come back to you with your parting shot tonight regarding our celebrated president, the longest-serving president in this nation. Take it away, Professor.
I was saying that we have personally, I have no problem with Moi as a person.
Yeah.
Moi is a father to someone, a grandfather to others, a leader of a small his community.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Moi as the president of Kenya. 24 years of our lives.
Yeah.
You know, he was the president.
Yeah.
So we have to say the truth about Moi. Just because we're in a bad situation doesn't mean that we will be celebrating bad situations of the past. So during the time of Moi, everything was in shambles. Yeah, things are bad now. At that time, things were bad as well. So instead of remembering past bad times and thinking that they were the times of glory, we need to change what is now to better. So that
take advantage of what we have now.
Yeah, what we have now.
To make it better.
Make it better. So I was telling Apio,
yes.
One day what's going to happen is his son is going to sit where I'm sitting, where he's sitting, and he's going to be an old man like me with white beard.
Yes.
And he's going to try to convince him that
Jubilee
government was
one of the best governments
yes,
ever.
and his son is going to be saying that. Unless we start telling the truth about the past, and facing the future fearlessly.
Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, the report is out there. So it's inside government.
And I think you guys need to read that report. Because if you read that report, you wouldn't say there was unity, there was peace, there was all that. All those will disappear out of your dictionary.
Thank you so much. Mr. Pio, quite fast, as we do the parting shot tonight. What's your parting shot?
I'm really saddened for your information. I think we have to say at this time that we are with the family. We have lost a statesman, and everything that Moi did to this country, he was a human being. He was supposed to have errors. He was supposed to be perfect at sometimes and sometimes have errors. For me, at a personal level as a peer, I celebrate him as my icon. He was quite a good president compared to the president I've seen since I was born. So to the family, we are mourning together. You are in our thoughts and you are in our prayers.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for making time to join us tonight. And for me tonight, because of time, we will not have the ticket to slumber, but one announcement. Our director and producer, Suleiman Nachas of Tumbo, inshallah, will be tying the knot, inshallah, tomorrow. So as the live Real Talk crew, Suleiman Nachas of Tumbo, we wish you all the best, inshallah, in this journey that you're just about to begin, brother. Mungu akujalie ndoa ya khairi na watoto wema na baraka tele. Thank you so much, our beloved viewers, for keeping us company. Again, let's meet next week, same place, same time. I've been your host, Faisal Kassim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kuna faida gani